Okay guys, we have our 1960s desktop that we're going to refinish, and we have some touch-ups on the cabinet too, but this is where we're starting. So here's our materials. First part of this, we're just going to use a stripping gel and a paintbrush and cover this whole guy and let it sit for an hour, maybe more, and it's going to work to strip down and break apart some of these chemicals that have this sealing the polyurethane in right now. Wish us luck. So it's starting to dry, and it's drying really light, so hopefully that just means it's working. A couple more minutes on this guy. Okay, so it's been drying for about an hour now, and you can really see it's starting to do its job. So now, next thing we gotta do is take a plastic scraper and see if we can start scraping off some of this polyurethane. Little update, I had to go to Lowe's and get a real scraper because these little plastic guys just weren't cutting it. Wow, I'm probably gonna do this forever, honestly. So much easier. Fuck sanding. When you're scraping, just be sure to apply very firm pressure, not so firm that you scratch the wood, but firm enough that it all comes off in one stroke, because some of these you see it skipping over, and we want to avoid that. Alright, next step. We've got about all that we could scrape off, but did do a great job at really breaking it down. So we're using 60 grit sandpaper, little guy. So sanding this off was quite the process. I think at the end of the day, if I had a bigger sander, it would have been a little bit easier. But the thing that would have made this thing go super smooth is if I let this gel sit for 24 hours overnight and you cover it in plastic, and that way there's no air that's allowed to get into it, and it could really break down all of that old sealant that had been there for the last 60 years or so. But it turned out really good still. You can see scraping was not very fun, but it's part of the process, so do what you gotta do.
That looks great.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than it did whenever I started sanding. Finally, when you're ready to stain, this is the funnest part of the process to me. You get to choose your color, you can mix and match, you can kind of do whatever you want to get your desired stain color. We base this off of the color of the cabinet, but it's a fun process because you get to see all of that hard sanding and scraping work come to life. So here we're getting a look at the cabinet. The main thing to look for is any signs of water damage, anything that could have happened to this thing that would make it structurally unsound. You can see from the inside all the wood grain is still nice and neat, super clean, clean lines, no rust on the hardware. The drawers look super nice. There's one drawer, the top drawer, with a little blemish on it, and that had cracked off, so we had saved that piece. same drawer had this little damage here. Gonna try and fix that. Right here, the only thing we're doing is prepping the wood, wiping everything down, making sure it's clean of any dust or any debris. The next thing we're doing is prepping that little piece that was cut out and gluing it back on. Materials are wood glue, a little bit of wood filler, the screws from our projects, a little bit of sandpaper. These clamps have been super useful, especially for woodworking projects. There's only so many hands that we have, and our glue is finally dry, so we're going to get ready to put that wood filler on and return it to its original state. A quick note is just double check the dry time on the wood glue you're using. I waited about an hour to do anything on this. Dried, it looks a lot different. It doesn't look pretty, but the wood filler is made to take stain, so it doesn't matter what it looks like right now. The most important part is sanding it down. So it's at least smooth at this point, and it will take stain, and it feels nice. It's not going to hurt your fingers, so that was the goal. Alright, so we're ready to start staining. I have this Minwax Gunstock 231 varnish. It's a little bit lighter, and I'm actually going to mix it with this Provincial 211. It's a little bit darker, so I just want to darken it up while keeping that kind of golden tone. So let's see what it looks like. We're not too fancy around here with these stains. We just mix them in a plastic cup, give it a little swish swish, test your color out, make sure you like it, add anything if you would like to. Make sure to wear gloves. You want to use protective gear when doing this stuff. When we stain, we also just use a simple bag of rags, is what it's called. When you apply stuff with a rag, it gets into the grain a lot better than just your simple brushing. And that wraps up the work that I did on this cabinet. I usually don't do too much with cabinets because you don't need to fix what's not broken. Now that it's been 24 hours and your stain has dried, we're going to put our semi-gloss sealant on. This allows you to set anything you want on the table and there's not going to be a watermark from it. We are so excited to reveal the final product in 3, 2, 1.